It's Julissa. Thank you so much for being here. And if you're watching this video after I posted, thank you so much for being here. I haven't come here in a while, but I gotta say, this past couple weeks has been a very hard time, but God is faithful, and I kind of knew that it was gonna come to me because of the content that I've been posting. So don't think you're just gonna come out here and share the gospel and tell people to follow Jesus and you're gonna be free of any spiritual warfare, right? But one thing I gotta say, and this is why I wanted to make this video. So the main thing is I've been listening a lot to the music of the Spanish Christian music artist. I'm sure a lot of people know him. His name is Alex Zurdo, right? And I kind of knew about him for a long time, but lately I've been listening to his music, and it's almost like you see somebody so young, so talented, and just living out his life to glorify God, right? And it makes you like, man, how did this man begin his journey, right? So the only way to find that out is by researching. So I've been looking a lot of interviews that he has done, and I was like, this is not just somebody who sings about God. This is somebody who loved the Lord, and you see his testimony and you hear how he got started, and it's so amazing to see that. And like I said, the past couple weeks has been a little hard on me, and I've been finding myself listening to his music, besides praying and all of that. And I found myself the other day praying for Alex Zurdo and his family, his wife and kids and his whole family, right? And I was like, man, this guy, right? He using his talent of music, right, and composing songs and things like that to glorify God. And a lot of the times, I guess for them, for the musicians, they don't think that, they just make music after music, right? And I'm sure he hears a lot of testimonies from a lot of people. He's very famous, right? But I'm saying, like, if he only knew the impact that his music has, because I see him collaborating a lot, right? And I'm like, he is on his own, he is his own light. Nothing wrong with collaborating, but I feel like what God placed on Alex Zurdo is so big, and the way he is also, right? And as the public, we only see from the outside, right? Only God knows the heart. But a lot of the times, like the Bible says, what's going in the inside comes out, and the people, like, what you have in the inside comes out as you speak, right? And to see him, Alex Zurdo, that's what I'm speaking about, to see him speaking at his church, preaching at his church, and I'm like, this guy just feel like big arenas filled with people singing for like hours, and then you see him preaching at his church, and you're like, man, this is not somebody who's just doing music, saying the name of the Lord just for the sake of it, like to say, oh yeah, I make Christian music. He is the whole deal. Like, he is living like the Christian life, right? And as I see him, like I said, I found myself this week and last week praying for him, right? And because it's song after song that he has made, if you speak Spanish, I don't think he has done any English music yet. I'm sure that's coming, but if you speak Spanish and you're a Christian, right, and you haven't heard of Alex Zurdo, which is very rare, I recommend you go ahead and look for him, and you're gonna hear so many music. In like one song, I hear one song, I'm like, I love it, and then I'm like, I'm gonna, I play the next song, I'm like, I remember this song years ago, and I'll play it over and over. I'm like, oh man, there's another song that I love so much, and that has ministered to me so much. And like I said, I found myself just searching about him more and more, right, trying to know who he is and all of that, right? I do apologize here, I'm not waving at anybody, I'm sure more people watch this after I post it, but the main thing about this that I'm speaking about Alex Zurdo is the fact that we are all called to use our gifts and talents, right? And you don't know who is waiting for you to take that step. There's somebody who is waiting for you to go ahead and take that step of faith and use your gifts and talents to glorify God, right? Alex said, you see him filling arenas all over, Latin America, and so many places and so many concert dates, and he's singing with his family also. And to see this man of God then preaching at his church, like I said, and I'm like, man, and all these young kids that follow him, and he comes on stage and they're all like going crazy and singing every lyric of his songs, of his music, right? You're like, man, these kids, they are crazy for Jesus, and they wanted somebody who will come out and sing the music with the type of sound that they like, the useful sound, I guess you can say these days, that a lot of the times in churches is forbidden because it's not, people think like the music that I'm playing right now is very classical and things like that. People think in the church you're not allowed to use music that are upbeat, right, which is what young people like. So Alex Zurdo created his whole music, he's an urban Christian artist, right? So all these young kids in his concerts are like jumping for joy and singing along with him, and all for Jesus. And it makes you like, wow, a lot of the times a lot of young kids walk into church and they cannot connect. I remember years ago, one of my cousins said to me, I stopped going to church because, they look at me weird the way I dress, and I don't like their music, makes me feel bored. And I said to myself, how can she say that? That's so rude to say. And I'm like, this is why you need to use your gifts and talents, because there is a whole world out there who's waiting for you. Because if you think about it, if it wasn't for Alex Zurdo going through that calling, well, let's start with his dad, right? He said a lot of the times that his dad was the one who actually invited him to go to a youth conference of something like youth camp, and he accepted the Lord like on the last day, right? And he always was into music, and then he began his journey, right? And he followed the call of the Lord for his life. And look at his 18, I think he says 80 right now, it's 19 years of music history that he has done. And look how much God has blessed him. And to see this man be answering the call of God for his life, and seeing him jumping around his concerts and singing all of that, and then he's doing the call for the lost. That is, when you see something like that, you're like, then this is a real man of God. Because after the applause, after the photos, and after the autograph, the main purpose for our lives, right, that we are called as Christ believing people, is to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? This society thinks that it makes you believe that everything is, you gotta get your diplomas in, right? And you gotta jump the corporate ladder and all of that. We as Christ believing people, we have a duty to fulfill in this earth. Aside anything that we like to do, we are supposed to share the gospel of Jesus Christ for the lost, right? And people, like I said in my recent podcast, it's just that it's so easy for a lot of us to be Christian just inside the church, right? How easy it is when you're surrounded by people who already believe, right? So we are called to go out into the world and share the gospel. And don't, and be bold for Christ. Look how society is these days, you know. There is no filter anymore. They just throw it out there. They don't care who is gonna get offended or not. They just throw it out there in your faces, you know, for your kids to watch and all of that. So you know, going back to speaking about Alex Zurdo, I was like, seeing him and some of the interviews that he has done, and hearing his testimony, how he started, and hearing his music and the lyrics in his music, right? And seeing him in a concert. I haven't seen him in live personally, but seeing, you know, video of his concerts and things like that, you're so thankful. You know, I found myself, like I said, praying, thank you God for the life of somebody like Alex Zurdo, who answered the calling for his life, right? Because when he's in the studio getting an album, maybe he doesn't realize that, but I'm sure as a creator, you know, you put so much emphasis on every little thing that you do, right? Because you know what you're called to do, right? I mean, I know he knows what he's called to do. Some of the songs, you know, that he says, probably that he sings, probably all of the songs, right? Like I said, you listen to one song and you're like, I love it, and then you go to the next one, you're like, I love it even more, and you find yourself like liking so many of his music. And one thing that I noticed, I think being a creator myself, when you see yourself that something comes at you easily like that you can create a song, you know, or for me, like, you can create a dress, you can create a reel, and it's like you go to the next one, it's, you know, and it comes out so naturally like that. That is something that God called you to do, right? That is like your passion, that you can do it so easily. And then even though it seems simple because you've done it so often, it can reach so many people, and so many people will be like the Lord will use that to minister to so many people, right? So this is quick live that I'm doing right now, which I haven't done in a while. It's all about answering the call that God has in your life, right? The call of God in your life. What is it that you are called to do, right? And as you guys know, couple months ago, I had to close my LLC, which I'm now in the process of reopening or opening again, because I feel again this push from the Lord to get on with this. I don't know, it's so hard to say, like, get on with the program now. Like, okay, we took a break, now it's time to get the ball rolling again. And as I'm thinking that, I'm like, you know, I actually said in the video, I'm like, I don't see myself making another collection, but I'm trying to be obedient to the Lord, right? It's, you know, when you're trying to be obedient to the Lord, you cannot put your desires aside and say, here I am, Lord, let me know what you want me to do, right? So this whole push that I've been feeling lately and trying to figure things out, is scouting a lot for a new office, right? I'm thinking to myself, it's not even that I'm thinking like what I'm doing next. It's almost like who is waiting for me to do that God is gonna use my example to minister to somebody else, right? So we shall see, right? But I just wanted to come here and share that about you guys, to you guys, about Alex Zurdo. And I pray for him, for his family. He is a great man of God. Like, you see it, even, we as the public, we don't get to really know who they are. But when you get to see one interview after another, and then you see him in concerts and things like that, you're like, man, this is a real man of God, right? But anyways, let me know what you guys think about that. Well, I'm gonna keep you guys updated about the collection and all of that stuff and the fashion show, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for coming back and watching this live. Have a good day, everybody. God bless. For coming back to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and share this video, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a great day, everybody. God bless. Hi everybody, this is Julissa. I'm here to invite you to my podcast, JulissaDesigns, and it can be found on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can join me every day as I make episodes of the latest news, real life stories, and I also share my favorite Bible verse. Hope to see you then. God bless.